When humans began pouring millions of tons of reinforced concrete into the depths of the ocean floor to build floating highways across the surface of the waves, that was not construction, it was a direct challenge to the most brutal forces of nature. Salt water is ready to corrode every structure, superstorms can sweep away anything in their path, and underwater currents are constantly waiting to tear apart any foundation. And yet, these mega sea-crossing bridges continue to be built, marking a great breakthrough of humanity, transforming boundaries once thought to be untouchable into vital arteries that connect the world. In today's video, join Mandarin Tech as we explore the most world-class sea-crossing bridges on the planet, steel and concrete marvels that prove there is no distance on Earth that human ingenuity cannot connect. Hong Kong to Zhuhai to Macau Bridge. Opening the list is a true giant of engineering, the longest sea-crossing bridge in the world. Stretching up to 55 kilometers, it connects three massive economic centers of Asia, Hong Kong, Zhuhai, and Macau. The idea of building this bridge was first mentioned in the 1980s, when travel between Hong Kong, Macau, and Zhuhai still had to go around the northern side of the bay, taking more than 4 hours of driving for a distance of about 200 kilometers, or relying on ferry routes across the sea. The three major cities are geographically close to one another, but they were separated by a vast body of water. A direct sea crossing route therefore became the key to connecting the entire region. To turn that idea into reality, Chinese engineers spent more than 14 years on research and construction, with a total estimated cost of more than 15 billion United States dollars. The project used about 420,000 tons of steel, enough material to build dozens of Eiffel Towers, along with an enormous volume of concrete. Engineers also designed the bridge to withstand strong earthquakes, super typhoons, and even collisions with massive cargo ships. The most impressive feature of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge lies in its central section across the open sea. While traveling on the bridge, the highway suddenly descends toward the water, disappears into an undersea tunnel, and then reappears on an artificial island on the other side. This design allows thousands of container ships to pass through the Pearl River estuary every day without being obstructed by bridge spans above. The bridge has become a transportation lifeline of the Greater Bay Area, a region with tens of millions of people and one of the most dynamic economic centers in the world. The Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge is therefore not just a bridge. It is a symbol of humanity's ambition to connect, turning a vast sea into a roadway and transforming the distance between major cities into only a short journey across the water. Jiaozhou Bay Bridge. If the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge had to battle super typhoons, then the Jiaozhou Bay Bridge, 41.5 kilometers long, had to face a quieter enemy, ice and sea salt. Located in the eastern coastal waters of China, where harsh winters cause the sea surface to freeze, the bridge piers must withstand tremendous impacts from drifting ice flows, along with the continuous corrosion of salty seawater. To overcome this hostile stretch of sea, a massive construction effort was launched. The project mobilized more than 10,000 workers, with a construction cost of about 1.5 billion US dollars. Over the 4 years of construction from 2007 to 2011, engineers erected a solid bridge system supported by more than 5,000 concrete piers driven deep into the seabed of the bay. The volume of materials used was also astonishing. About 450,000 tons of steel and millions of cubic meters of concrete. The construction process itself was extremely challenging because Jiaozhou Bay has salty water, strong winds, and freezing winters, which meant the bridge foundations had to be specially designed to withstand earthquakes, major storms, and the pressure of ocean waves. Each pier therefore acts like a giant leg column, anchoring the entire structure firmly to the seabed, capable of resisting an earthquake of magnitude 8 and collisions from ships with a displacement of 300,000 tons. Today, the Jiaozhou Bay Bridge is not only a 6-lane expressway running straight across the water, but it has also become a vital transportation artery of the city of Qingdao, significantly shortening travel time around the bay and promoting the development of the entire coastal region of Shandong. Lake Pontchartrain Causeway. Some bridges impress with their height and stand out because of their unusual shapes, but the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway in the state of Louisiana, the United States, creates its impact in a completely different way. It is so long that when you drive to the middle of the bridge, you almost feel as if you have left the mainland and are drifting into the middle of a boundless ocean. This structure connects Metairie in the New Orleans area with Mandeville on the northern shore of Lake Pontchartrain. Geographically, Lake Pontchartrain is a brackish water body rather than an open sea, but with a length of up to 38.44 kilometers, consisting of two parallel bridge spans running straight across the water. It is still recognized by Guinness as the longest continuous bridge over water in the world. Built starting in the 1950s, the causeway is proof of the durability of pre-stressed, reinforced concrete. The unique feature of this structure is its monumental monotony. Thousands of identical bridge spans stretching endlessly in a straight line, supported by more than 9,500 concrete piles holding up a low bridge deck, which stands only about 4.5 meters above the water along most of its length. The original construction cost was also very large for its time, $46 million for the first span and $30 million for the second parallel span. Adjusted to present-day value, the total investment is equivalent to hundreds of millions of dollars. What is truly remarkable is that the bridge has proven its durability over many decades, even when facing powerful storms such as Hurricane Katrina in 2005. But the greatest value of the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway lies not only in its record or its reinforced concrete structure. It is the transportation lifeline of the entire region, helping tens of thousands of people commute to work every day, connecting the North Shore with New Orleans much faster, and at the same time serving as a vital evacuation route whenever major storms make landfall in Louisiana. Jiaozhou Bay Bridge. In the middle of the sea, where the tides rise like massive walls of water, a bridge curves gently like a soft stroke across the ocean. That is the Jiaozhou Bay Bridge, a sea-crossing bridge more than 35.7 kilometers long, connecting Jiaozhou in the north with Ningbo in the south, spanning the entire Jiaozhou Bay in Zhejiang Province, China. When it was inaugurated in 2008, the bridge immediately became the longest sea-crossing bridge in the world at that time. But what truly makes it different is not only its length, but also its distinctive S-shaped curve. This was not an aesthetic decision, but the result of thousands of engineering calculations. Jiaozhou Bay is known for having one of the 3 strongest tidal bores in the world, where seawater can rise like a massive wave sweeping across the mouth of the bay. The S-shaped design helps disperse tidal forces, reduce pressure on the structure, and increase the stability of the entire bridge. To construct this route across such a hostile stretch of sea, the project began construction in 2003, was completed in 2007, and opened to traffic in 2008, with a total cost of about $1.4 billion. Thousands of engineers and workers labored for many years to drive piles deep into the seabed, resisting strong currents, major storms, and the corrosive saltwater environment. The Jiaozhou Bay Bridge is not only a 6-lane expressway, but also a strategic transportation artery of the Yangtze River Delta, helping connect Ningbo with Shanghai and promoting trade, logistics, and the development of the entire eastern coastal region of China. Donghai Bridge. Before mega projects like Jiaozhou Bay Bridge and the crossing over Jiaozhou Bay came into existence, the nation of over 1 billion people had already made its first bold leap toward the open sea. That leap was the Donghai Bridge, the structure connecting the bustling city of Shanghai with the Zhongshan deepwater port. Stretching 32.5 kilometers across the turbulent waters of the East China Sea, It was the first true sea-crossing bridge of China, marking a historic milestone in the country's era of maritime expansion. Construction began in 2002 and was completed at remarkable speed in just 3 years, with a cost of approximately $1.2 billion. The building process of the bridge was truly a battle against nature. The waters of the East China Sea are well known for destructive typhoons, high waves, and complex currents. To ensure the structure remained stable, thousands of massive steel piles, each reaching lengths of up to hundreds of meters, were driven through layers of soft seabed mud and anchored firmly into the solid rock beneath the ocean floor. The architectural highlight of Donghai Bridge lies in its massive cable-stayed span at the center of the route, where high-strength steel cables rise from A-shaped pylons to support the bridge deck suspended high above the sea. Today, the Donghai Bridge is not open to regular private vehicles during the daytime. This bridge is not only a remarkable engineering achievement, but it also serves as the key that reshaped the global maritime map, enabling the operation of Zhongshan Deepwater Port and helping elevate Shanghai to become the busiest container port on the planet. Shenzhen to Zhongshan Bridge. Imagine you are speeding along a spacious 8-lane expressway. Suddenly, the road rises from the surface of the water, soaring into the air, suspended by enormous cables. Then just a few minutes later, it dives straight down into the ocean, transforming into an underground corridor tens of meters beneath the seabed. That is not a scene from a science fiction film, but a real experience on the Shenzhen-Zhongshan Bridge, the Shenzhen-Zhongshan Link, a mega project that has just shaken the global engineering world when it officially opened to traffic in the middle of 2024. The Shenzhen-Zhongshan Bridge is a massive complex worth more than $6 billion, including 2 artificial islands, an underwater tunnel system beneath the seabed, and a large-span suspension bridge section. The underwater tunnel section of the project is 6.8 kilometers long and is formed from enormous prefabricated steel concrete immersed tubes. Each tunnel segment weighs up to 80,000 tons and was transported out to sea and immersed with millimeter-level precision. When traveling through this tunnel, you are moving through the widest and longest immersed tube tunnel in the world. Øresund Bridge. The Øresund Bridge is one of the most unique sea-crossing links in Europe, connecting the capital city of Copenhagen in Denmark with the city of Malmö in Sweden. Designed by Danish architect George K. Srotny, construction of the project began in 1995 and it officially opened to traffic on July 1, 2000. With a total length of more than 16 kilometers, the Øresund Bridge consists of 8 kilometers of cable-stayed bridge, 4 kilometers of the artificial island Peberholm, and 4 kilometers of the Drogden immersed tunnel beneath the sea. Most of the bridge components were fabricated on land before being transported out to sea using a system of massive floating cranes. Only the main pylons were constructed directly at sea. The large cable-stayed system spans nearly 500 meters, allowing the bridge to maintain stability against strong winds and the harsh weather conditions of the Nordic Sea region. Thanks to this design, the Øresund Bridge has become one of the largest cable-stayed bridges in the world, carrying both road and railway traffic, and at the same time it is also the longest combined bridge tunnel link in Europe. Throughout history, the seas once stood as barriers separating civilizations, but with the emergence of mega sea-crossing bridges, the oceans have now become nothing more than engineering challenges waiting for humans to solve. From floating foundations anchored into weak sandy seabeds to immersed tunnels hidden deep beneath the ocean floor, every meter of these bridges represents the crystallization of human effort, intelligence, and limitless ambition. If you feel amazed by these engineering wonders, don't forget to press like, leave a comment telling us which bridge impressed you the most, and subscribe to Mandarin Tech to continue exploring with us the great mega structures of the modern world.